Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of both the Best Dental Marketing Show and the Empowered Dentist Show, combo show. I'm Brad Newman from Dentainment. And hey, Brad Brayman, how are you?
Hey, Brad Newman, I'm doing well. Thanks for the nice intro. Glad to be here with you, doing this again. This is always a pleasant highlight of my week. So nice to see you again.
I texted you earlier, man. I'm so excited to be talking to you on a regular basis and doing these podcasts together. So thanks again for joining us.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I feel like you always shed some good wisdom on how to really market your dental practice in a really effective way. So that's great, and I certainly try to provide some useful tips on running a practice that you can go and use next Monday morning, or at least begin in the right way. So yeah, let's get started. So what's on your mind today, Brad?
Well, yeah. So a couple of offices we work with feel like maybe they were a little bit, I don't know, bored, you could say, over the years. And now they're like not bored, like they're really jazzed up and inspired. And we were talking about it, and it's like, oh, wow, they like, have a new service or new technology, new product. Like one particular client has this BioClear thing going, and he just got back from a course, and it's all about adding it to the website and video. So what's your take on implementing a new service and getting inspired about something new at the office? And how do you go about finding that thing so you kind of get reinvigorated and bring the spark back?
Well, that's it. I think, how do you find that thing? That's a great, we as dentists, we tend to be a little bit, get stuck in analysis paralysis a little more easily than we should, or excuse me, than is functional. And I think this is, excuse me, allergies. I think this is a classic case where we can get stuck in analysis paralysis. What do I do? What should I add this? Should I add that? The thing that I think is really important in finding something that is really going to light you on fire is looking for something that's going to light you on fire. Don't worry about what the guy next door is doing, or what your buddy back in New York is doing, or who cares. Find something about which you are going to be really excited. And you mentioned that doctor we work with that has recently added BioClear. He's taking every course he possibly can. He signs up for the next one when he's there, and he is just super jazzed about it. And it's funny you mentioned him. I just had dinner with him last night, and he lives same town I do.
You guys went for like Mexican food or something, right?
Yes, we did. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Great little spot. He and I both love Mexican food and all that goes with it.
Was that in Bend, by the way?
It was.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Right, little place called El Caporal.
Nice.
Yeah, just kind of a funky little. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's always those little places that the best Mexican food. Yeah.
They are. It's a little local place, not a chain.
And salsa. Yeah. Sure.
Which is that's important, not a chain. Okay, so what do we do with what do we do with how do we stay excited around dentistry when we got the big DSOs moving in, and they're doing their thing, and we feel like they're really competition. So how do we stay excited about dentistry and not let ourselves get dragged down by by all the people that are all our colleagues that are talking about how much they hate going to work and all this stuff? Well, what is it that resonates with you? What do you like to do? I mean, what is really, when you get up in the morning, you think, all right, this, when you get to the office, you look at your schedule and you see that one thing, all right, I love doing that. Maybe it's endo, maybe it's crown and bridge, maybe it's implants, maybe it's sleep medicine, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. And here's why. Henry Ford said that a sale takes place when there's a transfer of enthusiasm. And if there's something about which you are enthusiastic, you're going to do a bunch of it. Your enthusiasm is contagious to your team. It's contagious in your marketing. I want you to talk about that in a minute, Brad. And it's contagious for your patients. If you're excited about it, your patients will be too. So what is it that you really like? Let's just say it's endo, but you're tired of doing endo the same old way that you've always done endo. You learned it, back in dental school, and they taught you the geez, I don't even remember what it was called. Lateral compaction. Geez, yeah. Anyway,
Mhm.
so what are some different ways that you could do endo? Because we all know there's lots of different ways to do it now. What are lateral compaction? That was it. What are some different ways you could do endo? You love it, but you're tired of doing it the same old way. Well, Brad, there's another client that we work with back east. He's starting to do endo with a laser.
Night laser, right?
No, it's the same laser. I can't remember what it's called. Photona.
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 Photona, yeah.
Oh, that has a nice ring to it. Almost sounds like a
Yes.
good Italian joint. Anyway, he he until he got that, he had been referring all his endo out because he was sick and tired of doing endo the same old way.
Yeah.
But now that he's got his Photona, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a call from him next week saying I'm limiting my practice to endo. He is just
There's not even room on his website anymore to add any more services because you can't even scroll anymore. There's got so many services going on. We got to add more tabs on his website. He's got so many services going on. It's unbelievable.
and he is a classic example of somebody who is not resting on his laurels.
He
He is
loves
a
it.
classic example of somebody who is super engaged in dentistry.
Oh, wow.
He probably doesn't even remember what he did and what he learned in dental school because he's learned so much new stuff since, but he is super engaged. So if you are somebody who is really, you enjoy dentistry, but you're just kind of feeling burned out, you're tired of doing the same old thing. It's like friggin' Groundhog's Day every day. Well, find something new. And so what's the easiest way to find something new? Find something that is a new, more interesting way to do something you already enjoy. Start there. Just get a little outside of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is like a bucket of warm spit. 98.6 degrees. You float in it. It's isotonic. It's, by all measures, it's a pretty nice place to be, but it's still a freaking bucket of warm spit. So get out of your bucket of warm spit, but you don't have to, climb out and jump out of the bucket. You can still, keep your legs in there, but just get a little out of your comfort zone. Try something just a little bit different. See what happens. And you never know what you're going to learn at the training for whatever it is you choose. You never know who you're going to run into there that's going to introduce you to something else about which they're really excited. And then you check that out. And on and on you go. So it's like the fly. Read that book by Jim Collins.
Good to great.
It was his next or the one after that, about the flywheel. Really good. Great book. But anyway,
what was it?
I gotta look it up. I have it on my bookshelf downstairs.
Well, like creating your own flywheel?
Yes, effectively, yeah.
Well, Jim Collins, he's written some great books. While you're looking that up, I talked to our mutual client Scott the other day, and he's so inspired now with this BioLays thing. He just got back from BioClear, right? BioClear. He just got back from this course, getting up on the website. He just scheduled a filming day for videography and pictures. He's so inspired about it. He's like the only person in this area who's doing this. And like the spark and the twinkle in his eye about this, it's really, really great. And it like hasn't been like this for years for him. Right.
No,
it's really reinvigorated the whole team in the office. And I'm so happy for him. And so I think regardless of whatever field you're in, dentistry or whatever it is, like you're so right, Brad. You don't have to go change it up completely. Like it could just be like a slight variation of what you're doing. It just gave me a couple degrees off of like, how do we do, what I'm already enjoying, but just a little bit different, either a different niche, a different style, a different cadence, and I have found the last episode we talked about was the conferences. Going to a course, you just touched on this briefly, but going to a course or taking a class, a CE, a study club on something in this domain where you like already, there's all these adjacent possibilities that come up. A random conversation, a specific note or a tip from a lecture, another recommendation or another course, something, all these things come across that you couldn't predict when you're trying to get better and learning and investing in yourself and, personal development, where then you keep getting better and better. These compound things happen when you're always trying to learn, right? So, yeah, it's really inspiring trying when you do get complacent, bored, focus on what you want to do more of that you already love, and then you'll find the spark to find something new, right?
Yes, exactly. That's it. Turning the Flywheel is the name,
Turning the flywheel.
by Jim Collins. And Jim Collins does not pay me to say that. I just really like the book. It's one of those things. Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's inspiring. You go, you learn something new, you run across somebody else, you have a conversation with them, they tell you about something super cool they're doing, and that's the flywheel. That's what you start doing something new. You keep yourself engaged. Yeah, you shut off the movie Groundhog's Day, and it never comes back. And you're right. Scott is so excited about BioClear, and I got to tell you, it's pretty darn cool. As a former clinician, I wish that had existed when I was practicing. It's pretty darn cool. And what's even more cool is hearing him talk about it. I mean, he is like, it's like, okay, where's Scott? Because
How did he find out about it?
I don't know how he found out about it. He's so excited about it and telling me everything he learned and showing me pictures of cases he's doing. And I mean, it's mind-boggling, the stuff they're doing with it. It's not only is it really reliable clinically from how he's described it, but it looks really, really good. And the restorations they can do, they're remarkable. So anyway, all that is to say, he's found something that takes a skill that he already had part of, doing composite restorations, composite fillings, and launched it into something about which he is just super, super stoked.
Wow.
So he didn't just totally jump out of his comfort zone and swing for the fences and try something cold turkey. Took a skill he already had mastered and then expanded on it.
Wow.
And he's just crazy excited about it. And it doesn't matter what you choose. It doesn't matter if it's BioClear, if it's a laser, if it's this, if it's that. It doesn't matter. The point is finding something about which you can be excited to get up and go to the office every morning.
Anyone listening, sponsoring podcasts is not for our practice. I'm talking about for like a dental practice, sponsoring like local city-based or like podcasts in your area. Great opportunity for marketing budget. Like you should look into those. Also, producing your own podcast, great idea. Some of our clients are producing their own shows now, ongoing content. So Braven, we were talking about this earlier, but so you don't want to be solely reliant on stock content and paid ads. It'll be finito soon if that's the case. And so as a dental practice, you want to be thinking about how you could be your own production studio. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but you might want to think about producing your own show, podcast, recurring video series. If you think it's appropriate, use your office as a set. It could be a dental focus show, or it could just be a show filmed in your office with you, the dentist, as the host or a co-host. But maybe you're interviewing, people in the community doing great things, or entrepreneurs in your city, or people giving back. Whatever that show is that you love and you want to feature people or talk about great stories. Maybe you want to talk about smile tips or smile design, whatever that is, but maybe a show on your own is a good idea, because having your own platform, your own podcast at your dental office, it would be very powerful, because just relying on paid ads moving forward will probably be a losing proposition.
So let's assume, or let's just take a random dentist in random town, USA, and has no idea what to do with a podcast. We can all record stuff on our iPhone. That's that isn't that hard to do. And now, what do I do with that content? Is that, I mean, I'm not suggesting that people learn how to produce, process, and publish all their content. Is that something that you can do for, if someone were looking for a marketing company to help them grow their practice?
Well, Brayman, that's a nice layup. Nice layup for the
I
plug
had
in Dentainment. Jeez.
that was a shameless plug for
Well,
Dentainment.
geez, now that you asked, let me just go into our featured list of services.
Please do.
Should we roll up the No, no, I'm joking. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, we could obviously help with podcast production. There's some great agencies and people that could do this. Honestly, producing and doing your own podcast is something an office could definitely do on their own. This is something where hiring an agency just to do this is not necessary. The capturing of a podcast, if it's audio only, is super easy. There's some, we could put this in the show notes, or if anyone needs resources, you can reach out. We'd be more than happy to provide those. Producing an audio only show podcast, super friendly, user friendly. Even Spotify has a lot of resources that makes it easy for you. If you're going to do a video series, that's a whole different sport. I recommend now, I'm leaning way more into Italian practices. If you're going to do a video podcast series, on a side note, if you're trying to do more cosmetic dentistry, dental implants, you guys got to start investing in better high quality video content. It's a must. Now, social media content, more kind of one-off type of video content. Obviously, mobile phone stuff is great. Even in the moment, capturing stuff of patients, video testimonials, all that stuff on mobile phone is great. But if you're going to be really focusing on higher end content that's going to live on your website, and then have a regular recurring video series, podcast series that you're really serious about, that want like a higher level of video production quality, I would recommend finding a local videographer that you can have an arrangement with that comes out to the office once a week or once a month. That's a whole nother level of production to look into if you're real serious about it. Because there's different levels of production to do it, but there's so many resources out there now that you could get a kit on Amazon for a few $100 to make it definitely watchable with a mic, a simple lighting kit, and a tripod, just to get out of the gates to see if you have a show that's doable. And, the key is, I don't know the exact statistics, but something like, 90 something percent of podcasts don't get past the fifth episode. Something crazy where someone does 3, 4, 5 podcasts and it's done. So if you're going to think about doing a podcast, like the hard part is like coming up with the content ideas. So, once you get past those first 4 or 5 episodes and you really like doing it still, then invest in the gear or start hiring someone professionally to do it. Once you start producing it and you love doing it and you get some great guests on, and if it's part of your cadence, which would be awesome, it's a huge win. Some of our clients now that are out of the gates and doing a lot of content, it's such an advantage over the clients or over the offices that aren't going to have their own shows. Because if you don't have your own show and your own content, you could still win, but you just either have to outspend everyone or out social proof everyone, meaning get way more video testimonials or way more Google reviews or, figure out ChatGPT SEO or whatever it's going to be. So anyway, just to put a bow on that, I do feel like having your own podcast is great, own show, or some type of recurring regular content strategy would be really helpful. And or just sponsoring another local podcast in the area. Kind of like, you used to do like TV, radio ads. Now sponsoring some type of recurring series in the area would be great, just so you have that repeat plug for your practice. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it doesn't have to be difficult. The barrier to entry is a few $100.
Yeah.
And if you decide you really dig it, then you can swing for the fences and really go for all the fancy equipment, but you don't have to get started.
Exactly.
That's kind of similar to getting started with something new that's going to inspire you clinically. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to add something.
Exactly.
Just add something. I mean, shoot, maybe it turns out that who knew that Dr. Smith was a natural born podcaster, and he starts doing this and he loves that. So now he has something else that he loves doing at the office.
Exactly. Oh no, we've been pleasantly surprised, dude. Like we'll drop a camera down and we think we're going to be there going, oh wow, like this is going to be one of those, we got to bring the teleprompter or walk, it'll be fine. Just take time to walk, the doctor or whoever through it. It is what it is. And next thing we know, we look at each other going, that was the most amazing delivery of all time. Like they didn't stop for 15 minutes and we got gold. It was brilliant. So you'd be surprised, just try it. You might be a natural and you love it. You love being on camera. And if that's the case, by the way, last thing on this, Braymond, the offices that could build trust and emotional connection and empathy with these patients, especially offices who want to do all on floor, full arches, implant cases, cosmetic cases, like when there's patients who need to make big time decisions, financial investments for these big cases, you have to build trust with them. You can't do that through anything else besides video content. And usually it has to be the dentist looking at the camera, sharing why they have the clinical excellence and expertise and experience of why they should be trusted. You can't do this through stock nonsense or content where it's not you talking. Yeah, you can do it through social proof of real patients or the doctor. And so when you start getting comfortable on video content through this type of content and shows, you're so ahead of everyone else. Look at like the Bill Dorfmans of the world, like what they've done with video content, right? So, I mean, and if you're not comfortable, maybe take classes on how to get more comfortable in front of the camera. Like it's an investment in your long-term success.
Interesting. So there's even, you can actually take classes on how to do this.
No, Dorfman did. Like when when we've talked about this, when he got his, he's talked about it publicly. When he got his, extreme makeover thing, I think he was very candid about it. He took like improv classes and stuff in LA, and he nailed it. I mean, he's still a star. I mean, he was incredible at that and just nailed the show, and the rest is history. I mean, watch any video he's done on his website or YouTube, and he's as good as it gets, and because he knew that the opportunity was good, huge 20 years ago. And it's important today is like you have a good delivery and a confidence on camera and you come across as trustworthy and likable and honest, which he is. He's the most of those traits in person, and you have to come across on camera like that. And I think maybe the first time he saw himself on camera, maybe it wasn't where he wanted it to be. And, a guy like him, he's a perfectionist and wants to be the best he could be. And he sees his opportunities and he did. And so, that's an extreme example of how to master it. But today, it's even more important because the power of video, especially now with ChatGPT and AI, like all these models are training on video. So everyone's going to need video content. So if you could figure this out in some capacity and be decent at it and comfortable, it's going to be a big win.
So AI is training on video, I presume, from YouTube or something.
Yeah. So YouTube's the big one they're all training on. Yes.
So I think on our next episode, I think we ought to talk about SEO is no longer search engine optimization. It's search everywhere optimization.
Yes.
So I think as a little teaser, I won't spoil it, but I think I just thought of that. So if you disagree, that's great. But I think
I would love to do that. Let's do that next episode for sure, buddy.
Okay, fantastic. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Start that flywheel for yourself. Find something that looks interesting and add it. And, hey, if you just want to swing for the fences and do something totally new that you've never done before, great, do it. If you just want to take a full on jump out of the bucket of worm spit, fantastic. You don't have to find something that's just parallel to what you're already doing. But if that makes you nervous, just start small. Start with something that's easy. And just like with the podcast, start with something small. You don't have to buy the $5,000 kit of stuff off Amazon. You can just, get a light and a microphone.
Yeah.
So, you can do it either way. Both ways work. But the point is, do something.
Exactly. Great stuff, Braymond. Always a pleasure. Big thanks, everyone, tuning into this episode of this combo episode of the Best Dental Marketing Show and Empowered Dentist.
Cheers, everybody. Stay empowered.